Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at retrofuturistic architecture in 70s and 80s sci-fi films. We're going to be exploring how these cinematic landscapes reflect the societies we live in, showing the hopes, dreams, and anxieties that we all go through.
Shifting left for right. George moves slow. Ali gets the first punch in.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
You said you're coming to my house on the day my daughter's to be married.
Good evening. Elvis Presley died today.
Welcome to the 1970s, a decade of global tensions, economic crises, the energy crisis, and a growing consciousness of environmental care. It was a turbulent time in our society, and Hollywood's vision of the future mirrored that uncertainty. Take the movie Logan's Run, for example. Its utopian dome cities, while seemingly perfect, are also sterile, controlled, and ultimately claustrophobic. The architecture is sleek, but it lacks warmth. It's a future of engineered efficiency, optimized to keep people in, rather than inspiring them to look out. This reflects anxieties about overpopulation, resource scarcity, and government control. Another example is the movie Silent Running from 1972. The iconic geodesic domes housing the last of Earth's flora are a stark but beautiful reminder of the decaying planet. They speak to a profound fear of ecological collapse, but also a glimmer of hope that technology could be used to preserve what we're losing. The domes are both a symbol of despair and desperate preservation. Many of these 70s movies drew heavily from the brutalist movement. Massive concrete buildings, usually a government building or a housing block, that were predetermined to be functional. In film, this translated into powerful and sometimes oppressive futures. Then the 80s came around.
Honestly, we're out again.
Where the East German authorities have said, in essence, that the Berlin Wall doesn't mean anything anymore.
A decade of rising consumerism and technological leaps. The future on screen got a big upgrade, but often with a dark edge. And no movie from the 80s captures this better than Blade Runner. This film is an architectural masterclass. Los Angeles is a metropolis where ancient Art Deco structures are dwarfed by colossal brutalist pyramids, all covered in an intoxicating glow and perpetual rain. It's a vision of hyper-urbanization, corporate dominance, and a melting pot of cultures. The layering of architectural styles perfectly captures the anxiety of progress overshadowing history and the fear of society being controlled by unseen forces. Yet, I can't help but think there's a strange beauty in it. There's a sense of lived-in authenticity. Even films from the late 70s that kind of bled into the 80s, like Alien, showed this shift.
What's happening, A-Pong? Can't see anything in here.
The USCSS Nostromo
That's a big word for Elmo.
isn't some sleek starship. It's gritty, mundane, but still very functional. Its architecture is industrial, reflecting a future where space travel isn't about grand explorations, but more about cargo runs for businesses. But then on the flip side, on the 80s spectrum, we have Tron. Its digital world, the grid, embodies a pure minimalist retro future. Glowing neon lights, geometric shapes, black spaces. It's a direct reflection of the digital age, mainframe computers, and the wonders of the early computer graphics. What unites these diverse architectural styles is their tangible quality. These weren't hypothetical futures built with invisible tech. It felt like you could touch them. There was a sense of physical engineering that often feels absent from today's version of what the future should be. Wireless, sleek, minimalist. So why was this the aesthetic of the time? CGI was in its infancy, so directors and producers relied heavily on practical effects and elaborate set design. This false creativity resulted in worlds that felt lived in, authentic, and oftentimes beautifully imperfect. Ultimately, these retrofuturistic architectural visions were a cinematic barometer. The brutalist megastructures of the 70s whispered of overpopulation and control, while the neon-drenched dystopias of the 80s screamed of corporate greed, and urban decay. But even in the grimiest future, there was often a spark of rebellion, a hint of human resilience between the concrete and the chrome. They remind us that our vision of the future is a direct response of our present. Looking back, the futures imagined in the 70s and 80s were somewhat prescient.
That's a big word for Elmo.
They're a testament to the power of cinema to not just entertain us, but to reflect and shape the anxieties and aspirations we have as a society. What are your favorite pieces of retrofuturistic architecture from these eras? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more architecture takes. Thank you for watching.